everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are here on Cricket 22. We are talking about custom difficulties because the hard and hardest balance in this game is, let's just say, out of whack. It's out of balance, definitely needs tweaking, and that's where a custom difficulty comes in handy in this game, and I have found a setting which changes everything. At least that's what I've found. I've found that the other settings, they definitely do matter, but this one setting that I have found in the game, if you edit it up or down, will determine how well you average in your careers in this game. We're going to start with the hard difficulty with our batting here. So you can view settings, and as you can see, these are the settings for the hard stuff. These are the settings that will allow you to score runs relatively risk-free. You can score at a very, very high average, and if you play your entire career like this, it is pretty unrealistic because you will average 50 plus in every format quite possibly, and will make the game quite easy. But if you do want that, that is the difficulty for you. Hard is a great place to go and play your career from. If you are an absolute legend at this game, and you can play on the hardest difficulty, then completely fair play to you as well, because the ball goes through the bat a lot of weird stuff happens. The game is just drastically unfair because you'll good time it for the timing window, and you edge it straight behind and be caught. So it is really brutal, really unfair. These are the settings for that difficulty. As you can see, everything's pretty much racked up to 100 or down to 0, and not the place you really want to be playing because the game just isn't fun that way, at least for me. That's where I've got my harder difficulty, which I play on my career mode. The reason being is it's the balance between hard and hardest. It's harder, if you will. I will say that some of the background difficulty settings I have got from Twisty3. His link will be down in the description below. But today we're here to talk about one setting. The one setting of all these settings that matter the most, I have found, is the setting called Edges OK Input Influence. And the reason is because when you normally time the ball, if you time it good, as you can see by the good influence, it's only an 8% chance to edge it or something like that, as it says here. Normally, if you do a poor input, yes, you should be out, and that's why it's at 90, and that's why, obviously, on my difficulty, if I poorly time something, I'm going to be out. However, I've found that the OK input influence is highly influential as to whether the game is easy or hard for me. The reason being because most of the time when I get my timing wrong, I don't get it drastically wrong, I only get it slightly wrong. If I miss time on the good input, I end up with the OK input. If I have the edges OK input influence quite high, as you can see at 35, then I'm more likely, then what's going to happen is basically I'm going to try and drive on the up, and I'm going to slightly mistime it, and I'm going to nick it to the slips and be caught. If I push that down to 32, and it is very, very harsh like that, I'll find that that same edge won't happen. It's just harder to mistime at 32%. And that is why, if you come back to hard, you'll go over to the OK input influence, and it's only a 3% difference. But I will tell you from my experience, it feels like a 15, 20% difference. It is such a big difference from just 3 points in that OK input influence. It is huge. So for sure, that is the setting in this game I feel is the one setting you definitely want to change. If nothing else, change that setting from 32 to 35, and I guarantee you will find the game much more difficult, especially when it comes to mistiming or just slightly mistiming your shots and getting out. However, at this difficulty level, I've not really found it as often that the ball goes through the bat. I mean, it is a thing. It does keep happening, but it definitely doesn't happen as often on this difficulty level as it might on, say, hardest. That difficulty setting is the one that I can really only explain to be the real key difference between hardest and hard. My one takeaway would be definitely up the edges OK input influence, and you'll find yourself having a harder career mode moving forwards. You could also up that OK input influence on the edges in combination with the physics increase. The most important thing is actually further down here at the bottom where it says pace bowling and spin bowling visual speed. The actual speed at which the ball comes out will not change, but the visual speed that you see the ball come out of the bowler's hand will change. If you leave it at 70, as you can see the pace bowling visual speed, then you'll see 150 kilometers an hour come out. It should be quick, but it won't be that quick. But as soon as you up it to faster bowling here, and it's at 80, you'll see the ball come out a lot faster. So, for example, let's see if we can do a demonstration here. We've got Jimmy Anderson. There you go. That was the ball at the faster bowling level, where I've increased the spot by just 10 points on the visual bowling speed. Let's move back to hard, where the pace bowling speed's only 70. This is Anderson again. As you can see, it's just a little bit slower. As you can see there, I had a lot more time to really see the ball and leave the ball alone. Now, if I decide to really amp it up and go, let's say, make another one. Let's make it very fast bowling. And I go down to the physics. I don't need to worry about any other settings here. If I up this to 90, let's say now, bring the physics to very fast. Let's see how Jimmy Anderson will bowl now. He's bowling the same speed, remember? Yeah, that's a little bit quicker now, huh? And let's go all the way. Let's see how 100's gonna be for the visual bowling speed. 100 now. This is Jimmy Anderson bowling again, the same speed that he's always been bowling since the first slider change. Here he comes. Yeah, that actually feels like 160. It is incredibly quick. So for sure, increasing the pace bowling visual speed is definitely another way to make your career modes more difficult. And you can do that maybe even with the spin bowling as well. If you find the spinners are just too slow through the air that you can predict the ball and you can just hit through the line, then definitely go ahead and change the visual speed up. Make it harder to really feel like you know whether you're going back or forwards, and really give yourself a challenge in the game, because again, if you do leave it at the base, over time, as you get into the international teams and the domestic teams, it really does get quite easy. So definitely go ahead, change the game up, increase the pace bowling visual speed as you see the international bowlers start bowling to you. So my two takeaways from this video are: increase the edges okay influence from 32 to 35 per se. If you find that too hard, again, lower it down, or if you find it too easy, amp it up, see how it goes. And for the pace bowling speed to 85. So if they bowl anything over 140, it is definitely coming out very quick. Those are my two suggestions for you to try, and hopefully this helps make your career modes a bit more balanced and have a custom difficulty that sits nicely between hard and hardest without being too hard and too easy in the career mode that you can adjust at any time. If you did enjoy this Cricket 22 tutorial, then please leave a like. If you have any suggestions, drop them down in the comments below. Until next time, everyone, take care.